Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Youth Intake Challenge, where we're in charge of Dulwich Hamlet. It's been going all right. It'll be the second episode. The reason the second episode is out so fast is because I'm actually really enjoying it, really enjoying the challenge. So let me roll the credits and I'll take you through where we are. Welcome back. So this is much more difficult than I thought it might be, but at the same time it's gone a lot better than I thought it would, which might not make a lot of sense. However, what I would say is in this first season when you take over, it's very difficult to try and get people to stay on contracts who want to leave, because you've got no holding power whatsoever. Anyone who had a work permit before you got there, it probably isn't getting renewed, so you've lost them as well, which has left us with a very threadbare squad and really difficult. So what I've done now is I've been really proactive in doing contracts for players for the next year's worth. So outside of Elliot Romain, who we're going to let leave because he's 33 years old and he's very injury prone, everyone else is already in a contract till 2026, which is fantastic, especially Adi Shakunbi, who is by far and away our best player. He's absolutely phenomenal. And you look at him, he's made 52 appearances, he's got 8 goals and 17 assists, with by far and away our highest average rating. So it's essential as these next youth intakes come around that we have a couple players that we can just keep in as a core, to allow them the time to grow. Because as you'll see, and I've annotated them with yellow marks, they're what we call the youth intake of 2023-24. Jake Glider, Edward Amoako and Lolo Atienza. They're some really good youth products who've already gone from being like 1 star to 1.5 star, and they've had a lot of exposure to the team already. I mean, Jake Glider's played 47 times for us and got 11 goals for someone who's a 1.5 star ability player. So his development has been fantastic. Edward Amoako, he's got 9 goals and 3 assists. He's played 26 games, but he's had a couple big injuries, and again he's out for 5 weeks to 3 months with another one, which isn't ideal. And Lolo Atienza, again really young, good, hopeful centre back. Again, he's played 21 times for us, 20 of them substitute appearances. He's got 2 goals, but again, he's got a huge amount of potential. So we really need the intake to come through. I did see the preview was basically talking about a couple of wing backs. I largely ignored it because it was about, I don't know, 3 to 6 months ago in game. However, normally your youth intake's in before the end of March. So it's not been yet, so I'm expecting it to be tomorrow. So you'll see it live as we click through, hopefully. Fingers crossed. If not, I'll go off camera and click through till we get it. In terms of the schedule, just as a quick update, because I'll do a proper one at the end of the season, it's gone a lot better than we thought it might, especially considering the number of players that aren't there. A few inconsistencies where we lose against teams that we maybe should beat, but again, we're sometimes beating teams that we should maybe lose to. So we're still in the FA Trophy semi-final with an away game at Crewe, which is something I never expected would happen. And we're still competing for a potential position in the playoffs, which again I thought there was absolutely no chance of. But with 4 games left, there's an outside chance of nipping into one of them last 2 slots. So let's have a quick look, see what the youth intake is, and then we can get on towards the end of the season. And what we'll do is when we get to the end of the season, I'll do an episode entirely dedicated to how everyone got on, and that should then start the drumbeat of how the episodes will go as the seasons progress. I very much think it'll probably be a 3-episode season, 1 for the youth intake, 1 for the end of the season, and then maybe we'll start doing a kind of mid-season update. We don't have any of the best Wonder Kids in football, so we'll ignore that. Still waiting on this intake to come through. Okay, we don't need his. I bet we can let him go. Set him for release. I'll send the assistant to that. I mean, if this doesn't come through, I'm going to have to play the next game, which is unfortunate because it just seems to be never coming at the minute. It should have definitely been in by now. I'll give it one more click, but then we're probably going to have to go. Yeah, so there's another game in. So I'll play this next game. I'll come back hopefully next time with the youth intake, and we'll evaluate who the players are. So stay tuned. I'll be back very shortly. Welcome back. Unfortunately, we slipped to a 1-1 draw at home against Hemel Hempstead, who were in that 7th position. That would have maybe given us the edge into the playoff places, but we only got a draw, so we're still adrift. and we've lost. Well, everyone else got a game in hand on us now, so that's probably gone. What I probably would say is what I've noticed from this Dulwich save is we have a good squad, and the only thing that's probably undone us from being right up in the mix for the top of the league is squad size. If we'd have had the youth intake at the start of the season, I think we would have been all right, because we just don't have any option to rotate players. When someone picks up an injury, we're down to the great made-up players. So yeah, it's not helped us massively. And I'm still waiting on this youth intake to come through, because if we don't get a youth intake, I'm not quite sure what's gone wrong. But we need something in. That's the youth players released. There must be an intake coming soon, but we're into April now, and I've never seen this happen. I'm not sure. There we go. And oh my word, elite talent wise, I mean, I've watched a few people doing this, and they get a couple, but I've never seen. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elite talents that can probably go straight into the first team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top talents, and then 3 good talents who are all pretty good. So we'll go through these. We'll see what we've got, and yeah, I've not seen anything like it. So I mean, we've needed it. We need them in the right places. It looks like we've got a good spread of positions here. So first up, we got Sean Murray, 16-year-old right winger. Stats wise for the wing, I mean, he's got nothing that stands out there, but he's got a bit of acceleration, not too much in terms of crossing and dribbling, but work rate's good, stamina's good, balance and acceleration. So I mean, he could work out to be quite a good player on the right wing, certainly in terms of boosting out the squad. A good start, a very good start to what we might be getting this season. Who we got next? So we've got a Nigerian now, Onyeka Emmanuel, another right winger. It'll be interesting to see how he pitches against the previous one. So again, a bit pacey, good balance and agility again. A little bit better on the crossing and dribbling, which is quite interesting. So actually, he might have the better spread of stats initially. And at 15 years old, he's got that extra little bit of development time to get through. So again, another really good option on the right wing. I'm pretty excited about this. I can't wait to get up the top end. We've got a right back, inverted right back, Andreu Fontas, who's Spanish. I don't think we would ever play him inverted. We would normally play him full back, so let's change the stats for that. Let's see. I mean, his tackling's alright, position's not too bad for this level. Good decision making, his work rate's pretty low. But he can cross better than some, so again, at 15 he's got a bit of development in him, so I think it's another good squad. I think ultimately we'll take all of these players just to boost up the squad numbers. We've got Lee Ness, a left winger from Scotland. He's a defensive winger, so I mean, again, good work rate. I'm quite interested to see what the work rate is. Personality's balanced. Maybe I should have paid a bit more attention to the personality of some of the other players. Tries killer balls often, so he might be a good player for threading balls through to a pacey striker if we picked one up. So again, not a bad option on the left, and again, that's left and right wings kind of covered a little bit. Marlon Brophy, a centre back who can play both full back positions. Again, already at 1.5 star current ability. 188 centimetres, so he's good side on him. He's unambitious, which is a bit disappointing. It's good jumping reach for a centre back, which is good. Positioning, heading, tackling for this level is not too bad. I'd like it to be 10 if possible, but it can be developed, and he's got good aggression and bravery. So actually, he's not bad centre half for 15 years old. A big, tall lad. So again, another good one. He'll fit in the squad nicely. Regis Shabani, an English striker. So again, we've not had much of a striker outside of Pingling. We've not really had anyone up front. So he's got a good first touch, and he's determined, and he's aggressive, so not sure. Fairly determined personality. Her pace is a bit off. Strength's a bit off. He's got a good technique. But it'd be interesting to see how he develops. Initially, I'm not overly keen. I mean, he's got good jumping reach and natural fitness, so he's maybe more of a 186, maybe more of a target type forward. We normally like to play a bit of an advance for, but again, good play to have in the squad. After Shabani, we've got a young Welsh centre midfielder, Ryan Young. Nice first touch technique's good, a bit of flair. Work rate's a bit low again, unambitious. It's just they're killing us with these personalities. We need to get some professionals or ambitious players in here. Again, a good option in centre midfield. John Hayworth, left winger, bit more attacking winger. So pacey, good acceleration, but his crossing's awful. His work rate's woeful. He's got a balanced personality, so it's not too bad. But again, it's going to be a bit of a race between them really to see who develops into the first team. So again, no one's leapt out as an absolutely amazing one yet. But we've got a goalkeeper here, England Fredericks, Englishman. Again, I've never been one that's that up on the goalkeeping stats side of things, but I suppose reflexes positioning is probably a key one for goalkeeping, and it's a 2. Personality mercenary, not quite sure what that means. I'm guessing that means you'll just go and play for anybody. But again, we need squad players in every position, so another good option. And now we're into the elite talents, which is the one we all want to see, I'm sure. We'll start with Gene Elsley, a centre half. Balanced personality, young centre back, not very strong. He doesn't actually look as good as some of the lesser talents in terms of his overall stats for position. His jumping reach isn't great, 181 centimetres, so he's not quite as tall as the other one. Heading's not great, positioning's not great, so he's going to take a bit more developing. He is only 15, so he's got a little bit of time on his hands. James Cockings, left wing back, looking slightly better spread, good work rate, good teamwork, decisions, acceleration, stamina. So he could actually develop pretty well. Crossing and dribbling's higher than some of the other ones. So again, I'd normally like him to play more in the full-back position for the formation we play. But if he develops right, we might just have to tweak our formation to get him in there. So again, another good one, already at 1.5 stars, which is nice to see. Then we've got an attacking midfielder, which we don't have one at the minute, but Dean Spence comes in at 2-star current ability. Barbadian. Good technique, vision, good off the ball, a little bit of flair, good decision making. Quite small, 172 centimetres, but we could maybe use him as a bit of a creative midfielder to get a bit more attacking options up front. So it's something we might have to look at as we move on to next season. Professional personality, which is, he's the one that's looking at the minute that he's got the most balanced attributes and personality to make it. So he's one to keep an eye on, Dean Spence. John Schaff, ball-winning midfielder. That's a much better set of stats now. He already jumps out at you with the number of yellow stats he's got on there. Good work rate, good technique, determination and flair, good aggression for the midfield. I like him a lot. John Schaff, I think he's going to fit in fairly early on at 15. He's one to watch. I think he's the pick of the bunch from my perspective so far, apart from his unambitious personality. But again, I think he's got a good spread of stats outside of that. Aaron Hale's a pressing forward, already at 1-star ability, and that's a disappointment. I thought he was going to have a much better spread of stats. He's got good work rate and teamwork. He's not particularly quick, so for a pressing forward who's not particularly quick and he's not strong, that doesn't really sit right. I don't think they've quite got that right, but again, balanced personality, he might develop well, but certainly Schaff's still my pick of the bunch so far. Oscar Allen, a New Zealand striker, 2-star ability already. Now I'm hoping for something good here, and I didn't quite get his best stats aggression, although he has got dribbling and first touch in double figures. His finishing's a bit lackluster, but that can be trained into him, I guess. His pace is nearly at double figures. Acceleration's not great. His natural fitness is good. He can pass the ball. He's good off the ball-ish for this level. So, again, not a bad option, but not my favourite. And the final one, Benjamin Nchama, a deep line playmaker, Equatorial Guinean. Oh wow, that's an anticlimax, isn't it? I was expecting to see a whole load of stats there, but an unambitious personality. So a bit of a mixed bag, that really. I mean, that number of elite talents and then not really fitting in the first team as such is strange. What I'll do is I'll go off camera and I'll move everyone into the squad planner to have a look at it. I'll offer them all contracts to make sure they're going to stay because we need them. And we'll do a quick evaluation of what the squad depth looks like going into next season and the end of this season. So stay tuned and I'll plumb in all the figures into the table. Welcome back. So to get everyone in this squad plan, I've had to promote them all to the first team. I have offered them all contracts, 2 years, to try and keep them as long as possible. I've had to play a game in between, but it's kind of irregardless. We'll go through that at the end of the season in the next episode. So in terms of the squad planner then, 3 choices in goals now. We've got Jack Ruddy and William Lakin, who are long term. Ingley and Fredericks, who comes through the youth system, will become that third option with high potential, which I'll show you the potential table afterwards. It's quite interesting reading. Left back, again, we had Scala and Binham Williams already. We've now got Gene Elsey and Marlon Brophy, who can fill in that position. Centre half's really good because we had our 3 traditional ones, so Binham Williams, Chambers and Ekpiteta. We had Lulu Atienza from last year's youth intake, who was already there. And then we've got Marlon Brophy and Gene Elsley already all at 1 star. So that's quite promising from a centre-back position. In terms of right-back, I mean, Mikel Scarlett's already in there. Ikpiteta doesn't really fit in that position. So I would imagine Andrew Fontas is going to step up to become your first-team reservist for that position. Because Marlon Brophy's a centre-half, as is Ekpiteta. So we'll probably remove them out of there. Defensive midfielder wise, not much change. We've still got Shukumbi, Allen and Scott as our main first choices, but Benjamin Nchama comes in there as a high potential extra. I don't know why he's down as a defensive midfield centre goalkeeper when he plays midfield centre. A bit bizarre. Never seen that before, but that's what it says. In terms of the other 2 midfield positions, again, largely the same as what we had before, but now we've got Oscar Allen comes in as the best of the bunch, already at 2 star, which is pretty good for this level. And then we've got Ryan Young, Josh Schaff and Benjamin Nchama, who can all play there as well. So the squad's really fleshed out nicely. Left wing, again, we had Jake Gilder, who had a phenomenal season, which we'll go through at the end of the season episode. We bring in then Lee Ness, Aaron Hales, John Hayworth and Dean Spence as extra options out there, all down as goalkeepers, which is really bizarre. I don't know why. It must be because they're not on youth contracts anymore, so I don't know why. Right hand side, we've got Regis Shabani, the best of the bunch, coming through at 1 star already. In behind, Edward Amoako, he's from last year's youth intake, but he's often quite injured. So again, a couple more options on that side. And then up front, Elliot Romain will leave the club because we released him on a free, which leaves us with Richard Pingling, who's scored a lot of goals this season. And we've got Jake Gilder already on the same role ability, and Oscar Allen already on the same role ability. Regis Shabani and Aaron Hales behind. In terms of the potential, what I want to show you in the squad is when you filter it by the potential, it's predominantly filled with all them new players that are coming through. And so at the top, all these ones with yellow have come from youth intakes. Atienza was already there, but a lot of the players who've just come through are our highest potential players. We have a gap with some who were already at the club, not our mainstay. But yeah, largely the potential threshold on this is massive. So we just need to develop in the right way. I'm probably going to leave the majority of these in the first team from an access in the last few games to assess who is the best ones, the ones to keep in the first team squad for next season. We can evaluate them, and then the rest of them will go into the under-18 squad to get the under-18 development from the training. But all in all, I don't think we could have wished for a better intake than that. The first season's been really difficult. There's still an outside chance of a playoffs. If we somehow miraculously creep into a playoff, bear in mind we're 5 points behind with 9 points for grabs, we will play that episode live in the next episode. So that's something to look forward to. If we do fall outside of there, we'll just catch up with an end of season review and a bit of an evaluation of who's going to be our main squad for next season. And yeah, all's going well. So year 1 down. I've not been sacked. That's the positive thing to take from this. It was much harder that first season than I thought. And for those of you who are going to try it, how do you experience and how do you get around the fact that you can't sign anybody? It's really difficult in that first season from a squad size perspective. If we'd had a lot of these players in and around the squad throughout the whole season, I think we would have easily been in the playoffs. Which bodes well for next season because we've signed everyone already on a contract for next season. The threshold is high. I'm expecting us to be quite high up on the previews. But again, we'll see as we go into next season. So once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the save. Don't forget to tick the bell if you want to make sure you get updated every time an episode comes out. And there's only 3 games to the end of the season, so not long after this there will be another episode for the end of season review and a quick plan for what we're doing next. And then we'll kind of sit into a regular drumbeat of how the episodes are going to go, and let me know in the comment sections if there's anything you want to see in particular. I very much think it's a case of the youth intake episode like we've done now, an end of season review to see how everyone's got on, and then maybe a mid-season update along the way, which would tie in with when the youth intake preview comes in perhaps. So like 3 episodes per season I think would be realistic. And again, let me know in the comment section if you think that's reasonable or what you want. In terms of the squad, I'm putting little yellow dots next to everyone who comes through a youth intake, just so we can see at what point we've transitioned to a full youth intake team, because from that point forward there is nobody legacy from when we took over the club. That will be us running purely on the youth intake. The only other things of note is we have managed to do our first coaching course, and we're now on our second National B licence course, which is good because it'll help us with the training of the players and helping them reach their full development. I did try cheekily to ask the board for some extra youth recruitment. They rejected it, but we will try that again at some point when the season ticks over, to see if we can either get some new facilities for the youngsters or whether we can increase the recruitment potential for them. So yeah, once again, fantastic episode. Really enjoying the save. You can tell because I got through the first season so quickly, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I've never played it in this way before, and for those of you who play Football Manager and have never tried it, I would highly recommend you give it a go, because it opens up some new dynamics in terms of giving players that you would never normally keep, you would just get rid of them, giving them an opportunity, letting them thrive, and then bringing through youth players that you would maybe just punt away and replace them with a wonder kid, but actually giving them a chance. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Whoever thought of this challenge is a genius, and I look forward to getting on to the next episode. So until then, take care and enjoy yourselves.